Alright, here we go. Hey gang, Michael Zoll here, doing a tutorial series for Westside Electronic Music. We're going to be covering Wwise integration into the Unity game engine. If you're not familiar with Wwise, it's what's called a audio middleware, which essentially is a replacement audio engine for the game development engine that you're working in. So we're going to be integrating Wwise into Unity. So instead of doing all of our sound design and working with our audio assets within Unity, we'll be doing the majority of that work within Wwise and then integrating our Wwise project into our Unity project for the sound design. I like Wwise quite a bit. It gives you lots of options, customization, creative ways to work with your audio, and I think you'll like it a bunch too. So let's go ahead and get started. So first things you're going to want to do are install Wwise and Unity on your computer. I'm on PC, Windows 10, but it is both Wwise and Unity are Mac and PC. So check out the latest stable version of Wwise and go ahead and download the installer for that and get that going. And same with the Wwise Unity integration package. You're going to want to download that as well. Get it for the same version of Wwise that you're working with. And just a note here before you get Unity, download that and install it. Let's look at our release notes for our Unity integration package. And you can see that the latest tested version of Unity with this particular integration package is Unity 5.3.3p1. So we'll go over to get our Unity installer, and we'll get the personal edition. And you can see that the latest version is 5.3.4. It might work, but it's not tested, and I like to stay with the tested versions, so we'll go to older versions of Unity and download 5.3.3, what we saw as being tested in our release notes. So go ahead and download those and get them installed. Pretty basic. You just download the installer and it should guide you through the installation. Nice and easy. So once you've done that, then we're going to want to go ahead and start a new Unity project. So I'm going to approach this series from the perspective of somebody that doesn't know much about video game audio, or perhaps nothing at all. Doesn't know much about working with video game engines either. So I'll try to just do some of the basics of getting a demo project together. You want to get your feet wet with video game audio. You want to put together a map in Unity and get some sound design going for it. And yeah, we'll just start from the basics and move forward. Okay, so we're going to start a new project to work on, and I'm going to be using the Viking Village map. I'll show you that in a minute, but to get started here, we'll just do a new project, new Viking Village. I already have a completed map for it that I'll show you as I start working with the more with the sound design. But I'll put it in the root of my Unity projects and create project. We want to make sure that it's a 3D project in this particular instance. So we'll create this project, and there we go. We have a new blank project, and one of the better maps to get that's available on the asset store for free is Viking Village. And you can find that, it's free. Here it is right here. You can just go ahead and get that and import it into your, this is an empty project, so no problem. We'll just go ahead and import this entire package into Unity. And this is an entire map that's been created by another developer. I believe it was developed as maybe like a tech demo sort of thing to show off some of the newer features of Unity 4 or 5 whenever they made it. And it looks like it was created in Unity 5. So you're just going to let that download. And I think this, oh, there we go. Not too big. So here's what you're going to see after you have the package downloaded is this import Unity package, and we just want to select everything, import it. Okay, so we've finished downloading and installing our Viking Village package into our Unity project. You'll see your game objects hierarchy show up here, and you'll see all of your assets in your project folder over here. And when it first opens, the scene is not going to be loaded. It's still going to just be the blank scene that was there before. So you're going to want to find your scene in the scenes folder and double click it to open it up. And there is your Viking Village. So to navigate around, you can use the same controls that you would use for a first-person shooter on PC. WASD, shift to run, or fly fast. And holding the right mouse button will allow you to mouse look. So you can fly around using the same controls that you would for any old first-person shooter. So there's our Viking Village, and so let's go ahead and play test this as is. And as you can see, there's no audio at this point in the project at all. No footsteps, no torches, no water, no environments, nothing. No sound at all. But you can run around here and kind of see what's going on with this map. Start to get some ideas going for what you would like to do for your sound design. And so we'll back out of here. And the first thing you're going to want to do for the purposes of this project is get rid of the the defaulted first-person character controller and camera that is included with it, and all of that stuff is in this quality manager folder, or game object rather. So you can just delete that. And what we're going to want to do is go to our standard assets, characters, first person character. And for the purposes of this map, what we're going to want to do is take this entire first person character folder, move it out of standard assets, and move it into the root of our assets folder. And the reason for that is when we start working with the Wwise integration, Wwise is going to be looking for some scripts that are in this first person character folder. And if it's still in the standard assets, then it's not going to be able to find those scripts, and it won't work for trying to get the audio integrated with that first person character. So anyway, let's our first person character, let's find a little spot on the map we'd like to start. And we can first person character, we'll go to our prefabs and just drag our first person controller prefab onto the map, kind of position it how we want. And now we'll go ahead and play test. Excuse me. Now you can see we have audio. We've got some footsteps that are part of this first person controller prefab. But as you can see, they do not correspond at all with the terrain that we're walking on. We have that tiled sound, even though we're walking on grass and dirt and wood and all sorts of stuff. So we're going to work on replacing those footstep sounds in a later installment in this series. But I just wanted to show you, what's included with that first person controller character. So we'll back out. All right, so the next thing we want to do is I'm just going to take a couple minutes to show you how you can get some assets into your game that you can work with. Get some non-player characters going on, something like that, to do some sound design around. So you can look in like 3D models, and there's a couple that I worked with. There was the Warrior Princess. But you can search through and find all sorts of different, types of 3D models that you can, get for free and import into your package. Click on free only. There's our female Warrior Princess. I'll import her. And it's going to be the same process as, the Unity package when we did our Viking Village map. Just import everything. And it's going to drop everything, I believe, just right into the root of the assets folder over in our project window. So wait for that to download and import. Okay. So for this, it was called All-Star Character Library. What I did in my assets was I created a new folder, right-click, create folder, and called it Imported Models, just for organization, and dragged everything into there. It's important to keep everything organized as you start working with tons of assets and media files and the such. You just want to be able to find everything nice and easy. So look in our imported models here and All-Star Character Library. Go back to our scene. And let's put our warrior princess over here by the water, over by the boat. So with some of these, you kind of kind of have to search around within that folder to find what you're looking for. And I'm trying to remember which one of these it was that I wanted. With this one, it's just one of these guys right here. Maybe not. There's one in here that is a prefab of her without the weapons, I thought. Maybe not. Oh, there we go. That one is no weapons. So drag that on there and you can see now we have our warrior princess imported into our map. And she looks a little bit small scale-wise, for the map. So you're going to want to go over here to the transform and you can scale her up a little bit. Let's try like a 1.2 scale on all our dimensions. 1.2, there you go. And we can rotate her around so she's facing towards the village. There we go. And then we'll go in playtest and see our imported 3D model. All the way on the other side of town. So there you go. And she looks ready to fight. And she's dead. Okay, so let me show you one more thing that you can do with some of these imported models. A lot of them have animations attached to them, and they're not going to be what you want. I don't know a lot about working with animations at all, but I would just like, an idle animation to be playing for this character, not falling on the ground and dying, as soon as the map, opens up. So I can see this controller over here and the animator of this 3D model, and double click it and it will open up the animator window here. And what you can do is, again, I don't know much about these. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete all of these various assets and just make it so that there's just one state unarmed. And we'll go back and play, run to the other side of town again, and hopefully she'll just be, idling there, unarmed, rather than just, dead. So there you go. She's unarmed, she's ready to fight, and but she's not falling on the ground dead. So it's just going to play that one animation that you left in the animator. So, just wanted to go over, importing some more assets into your map a bit. You can experiment around, find some different objects, non-player characters, structures, basically anything. And there's a bunch of free stuff in the Unity store. And again, you can start thinking about the sound design that you want to do, as you look through the, available models that you can import, and, kind of get an idea of what you'd like to do, and get a plan for getting your demo map together. So we'll back out of here. And what are we going to do next? Oh, I believe what we're going to do next is work with, we're going to start working with Wwise. So give me a second here and we'll move on to that. Okay, so we're going to get started with Wwise. So what are we going to do here? I'll go back over to my beginning, not that it matters. But yeah, so we're going to open up Wise, and we're going to start a new project that we're going to then integrate into our Unity project. So we'll create a new project. And what you want to do is you want to put that into the root of your Unity project. And I'll show you where. Unity, here's my new Viking village, and I'll just put it right in the root here. And select folder. What am I going to name? I'll call it New Viking Village Wise. You can add platforms here if you plan on exporting to say like Windows and Mac, or Android, or any of the other various platforms available, the PlayStations, Xbox 360, all that kind of thing. So I'm just going to be working with Windows for this one. So I'll just leave all the standard stuff as is, except for I'm going to get rid of all of these right here. These are various plugins that are available for Wise, and if you want to include them into your project, you certainly can. These plugins, if you're going to create a game that was going to go commercial, go on sale, for each one of these that you use in your project, you would have to pay an additional license fee for each one of these. So I'm just going to select none. I'm just going to be working with some pretty basic stuff in Wise for the time being, and we'll hit OK. And we have a new project here, and we don't need to look at Wise much for the time being. We're just going to check to make sure that we can get our integration working. So after we have our Wise project created, and it's in the root of our Unity project, we're going to go ahead and import the integration package for Wise into our project. So we'll go to Custom Package, and this is where you would have downloaded it before. This is the integration package that you download. Wherever you downloaded this to, this is what we're going to be importing. So for me, it's over here in my Wise folder. Wise Unity integration package. Open. And another familiar window. This is showing all of the assets in the project, but you'll see the ones that we're going to import for the Wise integration package down here. So we'll just select all and import. And we're going to start to see some things happen here in a second. Importing scripts. And since we already placed our Wise project into the root of our Unity project, it knows that. And you can see that it already knows that the Wise project path is the path that we created when we made our Wise project. And we can leave these default settings the same as well and start installation. That automatically brings you to the Wise Unity integration documentation. You'll want to read over that as you move forward with learning Wise and how it integrates with Unity. I referenced it many times while I was working on this project. And yeah, RTFM. So, okay. So you can see now that we have the Wise picker, and these are the the objects that are created, not the objects, but the Wise. I guess the Wise objects or scripts that you're going to be working with when you start doing your sound design in Wise. Events, switches, states, sound banks, aux buses, and you're going to see a Wise global object created here. It just shows you the general information, which language you're working in, blah, blah, blah. And this is the base path for the sound banks that are going to be created by Wise. Sound banks are essentially packages that the scripts that Unity has imported from the Wise integration package, all of the media and all of the other associated data that is necessary for the audio engine is going to be located within those sound banks. So I'll show you what I mean with that in a minute. So we're going to test this integration, and this always pops up as well. Changes have been made to the project. We can hit yes to reload the project. And just to test that the integration has worked, we'll go over here to sound banks, our default work unit. We can right click it, new child, sound bank, and we can name it, let's say footsteps. And we'll save our project and go to our back to our WISE project. And layouts is where you're going to see the various layouts for working in WISE, and we're going to want to go to the sound bank layout. This is where you'll go to work with your sound banks and export them or generate them, and generate them into the streaming assets audio folder where all the sound banks will be located within your Unity project. So we have our footsteps sound bank selected. We'll click our platform and our language, and we'll hit generate. And you'll see we don't have anything actually in those. It's just a blank sound bank, but we're just going to be, right now we're just testing for the integration to see if WISE and Unity are talking to each other. So we'll close that, and we'll save our project one more time. Go back over here and refresh our project, and voila, you can see our sound bank has been generated in our default work unit. There's our footstep sound bank. So we know that the integration is working properly. As we create more sound design within WISE, this is where you'll find all of the stuff that you create in WISE. And you'll see this update as you export more elements within your sound banks over into Unity. So, great. So we have our integration working. So we'll do one quick little thing with just testing out our integration here and getting some audio from WISE, back into Unity. We're going to work with the footstep sounds, and we're going to go more into depth with this in a later video in the series. But for now, we're just going to get a simple footstep sound created in WISE and then pushed over into our Unity project. And you can see in our first-person controller here, just the stock prefab, it's just referencing this audio source. It's got an audio clip attached to it, and it's playing that. I've already messed with it, so you don't see the audio clip anymore. But what we want to do is not have it reference, the audio that is stock with that. We want it to be our WISE sound design. So what we'll do is, first thing we'll do is we're going to edit our script for our first-person controller so that it's referencing the Audio Kinetic sound engine instead of the Unity sound engine. So just to begin, we're going to do more with this again at a later in a later video with jumping and landing sounds and creating some more complex events in WISE to tailor our footsteps to have different running on different terrains and that kind of thing. But for now, we're just going to get a simple footstep sound going. So I want to replace this line of code that we find in our script, play footstep audio, and I'm going to replace it with this line. And what this is this is referencing the Audio Kinetic sound engine. It's a post event, and it's referencing a game object that's going to be created in WISE, and that game object is called footstep. So that's the only line of code that we need to change for now. We'll go ahead and save that and close the script. And we'll go back into our WISE project, and we're going to work with our first sound effect in here. So we'll go into our audio tab of the Project Explorer, and I'm just going to import a single sound effect, a single footstep that I've created in Pro Tools. You can, of course, for your DAW, whatever you're using to edit your audio for your sound effects, Logic, Pro Tools, Audacity, whatever you want to use, everything's fine. So we're going to go to import audio files and add files. I'm going to go to my project here, GCC. Here we go. Exports. I have a bunch of stuff going on here. I'm just going to grab one dirt footstep, dirt01, and open it up. And you see that it's just going to be imported into the project. It's going to copy it, from the folder that I exported it from in Pro Tools into my assets folder within my Wwise project. So you can see that it's going to create an object type, just a sound effect, and it'll just drop it in. So here we go. We look in our actor mixer hierarchy, our default work unit. We have one sound effect. If we hit our spacebar, you can preview that sound effect. It's just one simple dirt footstep. And we're going to create a new event in our default work unit called footstep that our Audio Kinetic sound engine is going to reference. It's going to be looking for this event to trigger the sound effect that we're going to attach to this. So we'll go down, and there we see our footstep. It says missing because it doesn't have any assets in it right now. It's just an empty event with nothing going on. If we change back to our designer layout and we have our footstep selected, there it is. We click on audio and drag our footstep in, and it automatically creates it as a play event. There's different kinds of events, all sorts of different kinds of events. We'll get a little deeper into those as we go forward. And it must be getting a little bit late. Flux has dimmed my screen out for me. I'll disable it for a bit here. All right, we're back. So yeah, now we've created an event in Wwise that Unity is going to be looking for called footstep, and it's going to trigger this sound effect when it calls for the footstep. So we'll go to our, anytime we change something within Wwise that we want to push over into Unity, we need to generate the sound banks, update the sound banks. So first thing we want to do is find our footsteps sound bank. Our event is going to be added to that footstep sound bank. So we have our sound bank, which is referencing an event, and within that event, it's referencing a media file, this dirt01 footstep file. So it already is set up for us to generate it, whatever sound banks you want to generate, the platform and the language selected, and generate. All right, no errors, so that generated properly. We'll go back over to our, for some reason, sometimes I don't see the Unity project update unless I save my Wwise project. So I always just save after I generate sound banks. Something didn't work right there. Save. Okay. And so now, when I go over to my Wwise picker, I should see an event that is updated there. Lovely. Footstep. So let's go ahead and play test this. Uh-oh, why don't we hear any audio? We should be hearing some audio, shouldn't we? We didn't actually add our sound bank into our scene, which is what we're going to have to do. So on the first person character object that you see here, where the audio listener is, if your sound bank needs to be loaded into the project, just because you see it in the Wwise picker does not mean that the sound bank is a part of the scene that you're working with. So you need to add it in and tell it to load up when the scene loads up. So for this particular sound bank, since it's attached to our first person character, we're just going to have it be a part of this game object right here, our first person character. We can just drag it over, and you can see it's going to add the AK bank script, and it knows which bank name it's looking for. And we're going to load on start, just unload on nothing, and go ahead and save our project. And now we should hear our footstep. There we go. We have a single footstep. We have audio that we've generated in Wwise. It's been pushed over into Unity. And as you can hear, it's very repetitive. You know, it doesn't change with the terrain. Terrible footstep, really. And another problem that we have is that when we jump, we're in the air, but we're still hearing the footstep sounds. And again, we're going to get more in depth with how to work with the footsteps in a later installment in this series. If you want to go right to that, you can go ahead and skip forward and get started with some more footstep stuff. So I think that's going to wrap it up for our intro to Wwise and Unity video. The next portion that we're going to do, the next video that we're going to do is going to be getting some ambient sounds, some environment sounds imported into Unity. We'll be working with them in Wwise and then pushing them over into Unity. So thanks for watching. Hopefully this helped you out with just getting a project going, so you can start to work with some sound design in your project. And we'll see you in a bit in the next video. See ya.